Hello everyone, back here with the final quarterfinals match in the Blullet Knockout. So we're going to be having all of the semi-finals games, well, two matches, quite soon. And this will determine who will face, this match will determine who will face Adib in the semi-final. So very exciting. We have, whoops, I have their names set up incorrectly here. So Maroon Tom on the right against Jawad Farhat on the left in this corner. And yeah, let's see how this match will proceed. Already the match clock is wrong, by the way. We need to add 2 extra minutes, so I remember that in case it ever gets that ever gets relevant. So now let's take a look at the reason, of course, is I started it too late because they started immediately at 7 p.m. and I started recording on. Yeah, anyway. So let's get into, sink our teeth into this position. Maroon here saw the bishop pair. So that's one thing I can quickly notice, and Jawad here has an aggressive setup on the king side with this f5 pawn push, and black's b6 knight, Russian school of chess, guys. This b6 knight is terrible. But in this case it might have access to this square, but bishop a1, the bishop is very fine on a1. Remember, bishops are long-ranged pieces. So usually when you see a bishop on a1, especially if this rook is out, it doesn't, well, I mean, this rook is by definition going to be out if the bishop is on a1. But you get my point. It's usually a very, very fine thing for the bishop in this case. So Jawad really low on time though, and Maroon going for the very committal g5. Now, Now h5 g4 is of course a threat, which would trap this bishop. Okay, he's attacking this, but g4 immediately, of course, and that's a fork, and that wins the game quite simply. Yeah, white doesn't even have any semblance of counterplay here. Just take on b2. Take on b2 should be fine, or take on f5. Taking on f5 is also a good idea, attacking the knight. So taking on f5 here, attacking the knight. He just chooses to go back, knight f6, very solid move as well. He can take on like now he can take, okay, he takes with the, I don't like this anti-positional move. I get there was potentially knight e4 if he were to take with the bishop, but I don't like this kind of anti-positional stuff. Okay, this is just a free knight. I mean, it looks cool as a sacrifice to put your knight on e6, but yeah, this is just nothing. And Jawad resigns the first game. So, is Jawad frozen here? Jawad might be frozen. I guess not. I guess he is, yeah, he is. Alright. So taking a look now at the second game of this match, and we get a Tarash, right? I didn't catch the opening, but this definitely looks like a Tarash. French Tarash, yes. It's something Maroon usually plays as well, I guess. He likes these knight on the second rank ideas in all of his openings, basically. Plays it in the Sicilian, plays it as black and the old lion, all of that good stuff. Okay, so Maroon has control over the square in front of the isolated pawn, and this usually is a very, very good thing for the side that is controlling that square. And bishop d7 is a fine move, of course, but it's already kind of a signal that things aren't too optimal. Now, it can be normal in many positions, isolated pawn positions, but here I feel it's a bit passive. Perhaps maybe queen b6 was better. I don't know. Anyway, Bishop d7 is played. Now, granted, I mean with h3, so Maroon played this very precisely, preventing bishop g4. This is usually an annoying idea in these kinds of positions. With h3, this bishop has basically nowhere to go to. And with c3, he's also controlling any knight b4, so the bishop can sit well parked on b3, d3. So this is a very good position for white. Well, very good is maybe an overstatement, but it's a good position for white. He goes to b3 again to attack the c5 bishop, but I guess, yeah, I mean, where are you going now with the knight on b3? Remember, Russian School of Chess, knights on b3 and b6, usually terrible pieces. So yeah, something to take note of here. Okay, brings his bishop to f4. I like it. The point here is just to develop a piece, of course, to a good diagonal, good square. But is there some other point? Maybe some bishop d6 is what I'm thinking. Actually, there is this very nice idea of bishop d6 followed by bishop c5, trying to trade off these dark squared bishops. Because if it's only the light squared bishops that remain, then that would heavily favor white. Of course, because this pawn, for one, is on the light square, and this bishop is very bad in general, and this bishop is... Oops, this is not a bishop. This bishop is actually quite good. So this would be interesting, though black, of course, has bishop b8, but then, remember what I was saying about the bishop being a good long-range piece? It is, but in this case, it would be blocking the rook on a8, which is not so optimal. So rook e8 is a wise choice. The rook has to move anyway, it's not doing much on f8, and this avoids the bishop d6, bishop c5 idea. So I like this move. And this is also furthering some control over the 4 square. So knight e4 may be on the cards, getting the knight to e4, and knight e4 adds a lot of pressure to this f2 pawn. So this is also a very, very important idea. Now, having said that, what are we going to see here? What would I play here? Queen c2, controlling e4 further, but I don't like the prospects of seeing rook c8 and knight b4 would hit with tremendous pressure. Is he intending after rook c8 to play a3 perhaps? Perhaps that is the intention. Even though a3 looks also very anti-positional, this kind of, I don't know what you'd call this kind of pawn structure. It's just a weak pawn structure, let's be clear. Bishop e3 now, yes, this is trading, this is getting into the trade we've talked about, which is not I think queen b6 is a very big positional error actually. So we were talking about bishop d6 and bishop c5 and getting that trade, and now, yeah, now black controls, white controls all of these juicy dark squares. Look at this control over the d4 square and the e5 square, and this bishop is so terrible, it will never have any kind of good square to go to. So yeah, I'm really liking this for white, of course. I believe quite a big positional error, queen b6. Okay, knight b5 natural. In a sense, you don't want to trade off pieces when you have the isolated pawn, because the isolated pawn becomes a bigger weakness as the game progresses, because of course it can be attacked more easily than more connected pawns. So in light of that, you should try to not trade when you have the isolated pawn. But here also the knight on d4 is quite annoying, so maybe that trade is warranted. But at the same time also, like, now you're left with another knight on d4, so he's kind of trading off the superfluous knights. This is a concept, positional concept from Dvoretsky, which basically means that in this case where there are two knights here, usually this knight on f3 is quite bad compared to the knight on d4 because it wants to be on d4. So they're kind of stepping on each other's toes, these knights. But yeah, so that's why you want to trade off one of them, because if there's just one of them, then they're not being redundant. And this concept of redundancy of pieces is actually central to the piece valuation system, and not evaluation, piece valuation system that Mr. Kaufman has created or discovered in a way. Discovered because he made use of a lot of statistics to get there. So this concept of piece redundancy is also why, for example, when you have two rooks playing against a rook and the bishop, for example, so you rub the exchange in that case, the case I'm talking about, and yeah, Jawad here just drops a pawn, and the game was already over. With this so much positional dominance, it's impossible. This knight is just destroying black's position. Yeah, at this level and even at a lower level than this level, just one square, one positional idea is enough to win the game. Yeah, so I was saying that maybe queen f5 now. I was saying that um, actually, what was I saying? I was talking about the piece valuation system, and then I moved on. Yeah, about the two rooks versus rook and bishop. So in that scenario, if you have the rook and the bishop, you don't want to trade off your rook for one rook, because it in a way accentuates the power of your opponent's pieces. Because if you're playing a rook against a bishop, then your opponent has one rook of a kind and you have one bishop of a kind. While if you're playing two rooks against a rook and a bishop, then your opponent has redundant pieces. They have two rooks, they perform the same functions, while you also have a rook that performs the same functions and also a bishop that doesn't perform the same functions. So that makes sense, and I think this wasn't such a perfect explanation, but the point is you want to keep the same piece of a kind so that um, you maintain some kind of control over the position. Which is why when you have a rook and a bishop against two rooks, don't trade off that rook, because if you're left off with a bishop playing against the rook, it will be much more difficult than if you have the rook which can move horizontally, which can move vertically. In comparison, when you have only the bishop, then you can't have any horizontal or vertical movements, at least with your pieces or minor and major pieces. All right. So what's going on here? The game still goes on. He's adding pressure and drops a rook. I didn't see the rook was hanging. And yeah, neither did Jawad. Okay. So up 2-0. Maroon is in scary form, by the way. Adib and Maroon have been in very scary form, actually. Why is the game not starting? There was some lag there. I don't know. Yeah, so both of them have been playing extremely well, actually. The way Adib ran through Rafael, Eli, it was insane. And if Maroon keeps this up against Jawad, this will be even scarier. Actually, the way Maroon beat Penta, of course, was even scarier. Like it was I think the most lopsided match, and Penta is I believe the 14th seed. No, Penta is the 15th seed, right? So in the 16-player knockout. So it's quite like at the 15th seed, like there's not much of a difference between the 10th seed and the 15th seed, I believe. Or at least till the 12th seed, there isn't much of a difference in terms of ratings. So what I'm saying is Maroon played extremely well in that match, and if he keeps it up in this match, it's also going to be very scary. Um, yeah, and that means that the Adib Maroon match will be even more insane, because both of them have really swept through their opponents, and that will mean that there will be some very nice um, fight between them. Now, of course, this is just the beginning of this match. Of course, Jawad is heavily outrated as well, but he can still make a comeback. Nothing is impossible. Um, Especially, I mean, mathematically, this is not a foregone conclusion, the result of this match. But Maroon off to a 2-0 start, this is very promising. Now let's see if this position is as promising as the result. Now, of course, here White should have an advantage with the bishop pair. But do the positional trumps of White? And here, no, I don't think so. I mean, Black isn't castled and can't castle. The moment he castles, he loses this guy. And he can even go for something crazy just to... But yeah, I wouldn't do that. Giving up the bishop pair to destroy castling rights, it doesn't sit well with me in this position. Alright. I guess maybe bishop d7 now, intending to go b4 and then maybe b3. The point is that... whoopsie daisy. So the point is that after bishop d7, b4, you're controlling this a4 square. So that's something like knight a4, and after knight takes a4, there would be bishop takes a4 with check. So that would be perhaps a bit annoying. So he does play bishop d7. Very natural move, of course. I mean, it's difficult to suggest anything else anyway. And White, the one further trump White has in this position, also the time advantage, but also this f5 pawn push at any moment can really open up the position and could prove to be... actually, f5 seems very strong. f5 just seems very strong. If you capture like this, I take here first, and you can't even take back because if knight takes d5, that would actually be losing. So that would be actually losing a piece. And if f5, knight takes f5, then perhaps some of the same stuff, like, you don't even have to sack the exchange after f5, knight takes f5, maybe just bishop takes f5. So f5 is a very powerful move. I guess then he can't capture, but then maybe f6 is coming. Or at least taking here and opening up the position, and yeah, he finds f5. Very powerful move here. I wonder if it was available previously. Let's not beat this point too much. Okay, he goes b4. So we were considering all of these takes ideas. There was also knight c6 there to consider, but he goes for b4, which we also haven't considered yet. Very principled. Now you can actually take on f5, because then the knight wouldn't be there to take on d5 back and threaten some nasty ideas. So b4, very principled move as well. Maroon must have seen that when he played, even before he played bishop d7, I guess, or when he played bishop d7. So very nice play by Maroon so far, and because he got a bad position out of the opening. Now he's, I wouldn't say outplaying Jawad, not at all, but at least putting up a fight, which is what these super strong players do, right? They have 9 lives. They keep on fighting back. And yeah, here it's not so easy to see. Maybe f6. Huh. f6 does... Ooh, I like f6. Oh. Oh. I like f6. The point is that if e takes f6 occurs, there's bishop takes f6. And such kind of opening up of the position definitely is not something you want to see as White. Yes, he does play f6. The point is that g6, of course, is not possible. So this kind of move is a aggressive line opening move that makes use of the fork, not for the purpose of the fork itself, but rather to open lines. The point is that g6 would be a line closing move, but it's not available because of this fork. on the two pieces here, or piece and pawn. And of course this doesn't work, this does nothing. You can take here and take on f5 with the bishop, of course. And yeah, you move out of the way, just takes here. And if you take first, whoopsie, and if you take first, then comes, as I said, bishop f6. Okay, he goes knight g6. I see. Doesn't queen f3, I guess there's knight takes e5, but that doesn't seem to last after something like queen g3 or queen f4. Yeah, isn't this just losing? I believe so. He might have to play some f5. See? All is not said and done. Never is. It never is. Ooh, after knight takes c5, there's queen f6. Queen f6, threatening mate and threatening the knight. I guess knight c6. No, knight c6, then queen takes f7. That's the point. Ah, you can't even take on e5. So you have to play f5 here. Forced. And after f5, there's even an argument to play bishop takes f5. Let's be perfectly clear here. Yeah. But there is also the very simple en passant. So en passant should be good enough. But actually after en passant, yeah, king f7 now, and maybe black's attack isn't so huge. White's attack, but queen h5, I guess. Oh, but what does queen h5 do? The knight is still attacked on c3. We've forgotten about this knight, but of course white had bigger threats, mating threats. But now the knight becomes relevant again. And if you give, okay. Can't he can just take the knight. Oh. Jawad. And look at the pace Gameoverbro played this with. Like, he knows what's up. He knows what's cooking here. So yeah, this wasn't working. I believe Jawad is just lost now. This is insane. Defending like this, absolutely ridiculous. And now I guess queen takes b2 can be a threat. Ah. Yeah, this should be losing somehow. Very good move. Queen g5 attacking the bishop and threatening c3 as well and threatening e3. I guess there's queen h5 now. Queen h5 of course makes sense. Doesn't play queen. Okay, bishop b5 now. Yeah, the moment you take on g5, the game should be almost over. The king is just too safe and there are too many threats. Now you can't play something like rook d8 though. It's still very dangerous for white, of course. Not so easy. Bishop d3, very nice move, closing off all of the nasties. That's a very good move. I guess there is rook b1. The point being you can't take because of this. Actually, after king, like this is very complicated because there's also king e8 in that line I was talking about. Anyway, let's watch the players' reactions. It's looking very dangerous here. Knight e5. Some knight f3 potentially was an idea. Okay. No, but he had rook f1. Oof. Oof. Oh. Maroon just blundered that. Wow, nice bullet skills there. Nice bullet skills by Jawad. Impressive. Wow. No, Maroon was definitely winning after he navigated the complications so excellently, I would say. But But yeah, it was not meant to be. There I think just taking on g7, I think, or something, if I'm remembering the position correctly. Okay, back to this Tarash stuff. h3, oh, and c3 coming. Jawad needs to come up. The problem here is Jawad didn't lose like with some tactic or some bad positional idea that's very clear where he went wrong. The problem is he lost due to a really powerful positional squeeze by white. So he needs to improve something. Maybe knight b4 now. What would, like knight b4 if the bishop moves to f1, let's say intending some c3. I guess, yeah, bishop f5, knight d4. So the line I was talking about was this. And if you go here, bishop f5 attacking c2, stopping c3, but then comes knight d4, and c3 is coming next move, knight d4 also attacking the bishop on f5, so that doesn't really work. So we're going to take a look at this position now. Can you even sacrifice with knight e4 here? No, that doesn't work. Knight e4 is stupid. You kind of feel like there's some kind of sacrifice here, but there isn't. Okay, just bishop f1. He takes. Yeah, of course, no. That's, again, an important positional idea. Again, it's all about the dark squares. And here he's just getting the knight to d4 with tempo. I don't really understand what Jawad is doing here. Dare I say he's playing this worse than the second game, this fourth game. The second black game, he's playing it worse than the first black game. I don't know, that's how I feel at least. I mean, maybe the bishop on h7 though is better than the bishop being on d7. I guess that is true. And the knight here gets to e4. Maybe no, maybe I'm misjudging this. Still, I don't like this. I feel like there is a better way to play this line of the Tarash positionally for black. All of these Frenches always end up like this anyway. I mean, playing as white against the French, as long as you avoid opening tricks, and especially if you play the advanced French, not getting your center destroyed. As long as you avoid stuff like that, you're able to play a simple positional game, which is just related to a good bishop versus bad bishop scenario, or a good knight versus bad bishop scenario. So you always play against the French c8 bishop, which is usually a terrible piece. Now, to be honest, though, I'm liking what Jawad did actually here. The bishop on h7 isn't such a bad piece. It looks like a normal opening now, not a French with this. Now, of course, like the isolated pawn is still there for black, and white controls the dark squares, especially the square in front of the isolated pawn. But yeah, that shouldn't amount to that much of an advantage for white. And if you look at this position, white definitely doesn't, like, there's no clear I wouldn't say there's no clear path forward, but there's no clear path to some big advantage, so there's that. So yeah, all right, rook e3. So, I mean, I guess the point here for Maroon is clear, to double up on the bubble up, but how should black proceed? Maybe double up back, maybe play rook e7 and then rook a e8. Something like this. Perhaps. Okay, Jawad's spending his time here, and he's much worse positionally, so this isn't boding too well for him. I think he needs to take a decision now, maybe just double up, rook e7, rook a e8. Is he afraid of any tactic or something? By the way, just to mention an important tactical point, knight takes f2 doesn't work. It would if queen takes f2 were to occur. But knight takes f2, there's taking here. And then after takes back, important that also comes with check. Well, maybe not so important, but yeah, comes with check. And there's queen takes f2, and that's a lost piece. And there are no shenanigans connected with taking here or whatever, because you just are able to take back. Okay, trades off the superfluous knights again and gets rid of his knight on c6. I don't really understand this. And he's spending a lot of time. Like, he does a trade, and white is of course going to take back on d4. I mean, what is he going to do? And then he thinks even more. So that's usually a bad sign in chess. That's usually a very bad sign, actually. I mean, white just has positional dominance here. Rook f3 maybe. Rook f3 definitely now. Rook f3 and queen f5 and... Rook e3, no. Okay, he does control the only open. Okay, he's playing it positionally. Rook f3 would be a way to play it more aggressively, tactically. But yeah, he's playing... Oh, watch out. Tactic time. Tactic time. Queen takes d4 was threatened. But Maroon spots that. Lickety split. He ain't having... Oh, just take on b7. Come on. Yeah, just no reason not to take that free pawn, and it comes with an attack on the rook. So. Yeah, this is getting bad. Jawad really needs to find something in the French. Maybe he should stop playing the French altogether, or pick another line. The Starash is giving Maroon such a strong positional bind. Maroon plays beautiful positional chess. He's also a very aggressive player, but I mean, he has... I've spoken about this in the Penta A5 match. He has some insane games. Alpha Zero-esque. And in class... What? I mean, I guess the point here is that after taking, there's Rook B8. So after taking, you take here. So you kind of lose control. And positional chess is all about control, so... Yeah. Maroon has the full right here not to do that, but I don't know. I feel it's kind of... I mean, look here. He plays knight e4. It's... I don't know. Knight f3. Very interesting. Perhaps allowing d4 now, though. But no, d4 doesn't work. No, no, it doesn't. It does. It does. I was thinking of this line. Queen takes b7. Ah. Queen takes b7. Rook b8. Ah, but there is queen takes e4. I was thinking rook takes e4 allows a check on c1. But there is queen takes e4. And in that case, black would be lost. So he can just take on b7. Is he going to miss this? To be fair though, there is this line, which is taking, takes here. And after takes on c8, just king h7. And this is a big nasty threat. And there's actually no even good way to stop it. You can't even play queen c5. And that would be bad. Huh. Huh. Very interesting. Okay, I like this. He even takes back. Okay, Maroon playing this so calmly. Never taking on b7. Okay, he takes on b7 finally now, and now is probably the best time in the entire game to take on b7. Is there rook takes f3? Was there rook takes f3? Huh. G takes f3, queen g5? Perhaps that was available. Difficult though to make such a committal decision with so low time for Jawad, yeah. Rook takes f3 is a threat now though. Oh, Maroon better watch out. And he better not cry. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, alright. Okay, just trades off, and yeah, that's an extra passed pawn. What a really nice positional game by Maroon. I love this so much. I absolutely love this. He kept control the entire game. Just complete dominance. Complete dominance. Amazing. Amazons. King d3. King e2, king d3. Keep going to the promised land. G3 preventing knight f4. So sophisticated. I love it. Knight c6 threatened. Watch out. Wait, is that knight trapped? Well, no. Okay, b7 right in time. Maroon just not leaving anything up to chance. Knight c5 check. Wait, no. Ah, king c4 first, then now knight c5. Aha. So good. So amazingly good. There were like 10 times in this entire game where it seemed like Maroon was losing control, but he did not lose control. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I believe I'm lagging somewhat. Now I've noticed the lag. Yeah, I mean, you guys are missing out on the opening. Okay, black lion stuff against the c4. And a very early b5 by Marux. Excuse me for one. For 1 second was what I was about to say. Yeah, but that little sniffle came on very quickly. Okay. Yeah, so what's going on here? So very early queenside dominance by white, of course. And this should definitely favor Jawad here. He has a nice position. But with the way like the position is structured, this is going to be a long positional battle. So well, if yeah, if Maroon doesn't go for g5, which is actually a very normal move in this position, so maybe from the start it wasn't going to be a long positional battle. Yeah, all right. g5, maybe h4 now. Don't even capture. Now with the bishop being on g2, any kind of h-file attack loses in significance because that bishop is such a good defender. And there's no easy way for black to defend. I don't like why not just h4? h4 is more principled in a way to keep the attack going and try to open more files. Because you can capture this pawn anytime you want. So perhaps that was better. Okay, knight takes g5. Yeah, like I don't really get the point of f4 might even be an idea. f4 looks very dangerous for black even because this bishop can come to b2 and f4 and like where is this knight going? f4 opening up here. This kind of stuff. It looks supremely dangerous. I would just play f4 here. And the 4 is so well protected, knight h3 of course does nothing. And like knight h3, maybe even king h1, you don't even have to go to the g2 square, which would be maybe less optimal because then you deny the king being on g2. So if knight h3 check, king g2, maybe the argument would be that the bishop can't come to g2, but you can even go to h1. The bishop can just come back to g2. There is nothing connected with knight takes f2 check, which would be a very nasty fork, but the rook is there defending, and yeah, 4 is very powerful anyway. Trying to take here and just open up the position for a very nasty white attack. So yeah, he's spending a lot of time here. Okay, come on, Jawad. Come on, Jawad. Earth to Jawad. What's going on? This is really insane to spend so much time. F4 is just so natural. Knight h3, by the way, yeah, king h2, maybe the point is that you're not attacking nothing because the bishop is there. So yeah, okay. Very strange. Okay, but is Jawad going to play this on 20 seconds? I don't get it. Look at his facial expressions. He's thinking so hard. Am I missing something with f4? Am I just really stupid? I don't know. I mean, that might not be connected to this f4 move. But okay, finally f4. Yes, hello. Was he like calculating all lines after knight e6 and knight h7? I mean, knight h7 is ridiculous, of course. Yeah, the knight e6 seems like the only move. Otherwise, I mean, knight h3 again isn't doing much. King h1. Simply king h2 even. No need to even go to h1. King h2 and attack that bish. That bish kick. Knight e6, yes. Now the problem is there's a 5 f6 for white, but no, a 5 f6 isn't the wisest. The wisest is just to take and bishop b2 or something. You know, he does go for f5. If he's not following up with f6, then just bishop f6 and e4 becomes a dangerous idea. So there's this. Well, e4 maybe isn't so dangerous because you give up the d4 square, but at least just park your bishop here and stop all of white's play. And if he does play f6, okay, bishop f8, and or even there's an argument for bishop d8. But you're closing up the position, so I don't know. Yeah, now just bishop f6. What's the problem here? I think taking on e5 made more sense. I don't know. It's difficult though. Like these kinds of taking on e5 and pushing f5. These kinds of ideas usually are quite simple because usually it's always taking on e5. But in this particular position, the pieces are set up in a way that there can be arguments for both taking on e5 and also pushing f5. I mean, this position shouldn't be too bad for white anyway. I mean, it might be bad though, like after bishop g4, knight d3. Okay, I wouldn't say bad. In the end, there's a bishop on f8, and black's king isn't even castled, so maybe even white is still better, I don't know. I like playing these kinds of positions as black though, especially this kind of structure. Somewhat reminiscent of the Czech Benoni. And with the knight being on c5. Yeah, and h4 could be very dangerous. Maybe just bishop f2, I was about to say that. Knight d3 now gains in strength. Yeah, just a free piece. Just a free piece, actually. That collapsed really quickly. Wow. Okay. Very, very surprising there. I'm just trying to think back, like, yeah, maybe just the entire sequence with f5 was just wrong. Perhaps that is the reason. Taking on c4, a bit of a rare move actually in this line. Gives white the open b file and better central control. So not really sure of this move. By the way, how much time is left on the match clock? 11 minutes. So this might be the last 5+1 game because they started about 3 minutes earlier than I started the match clock. So we have to add an extra 3 minutes. Alright, this position, Maroon just has a double fianchetto setup, and again, black's bishop, it's looking like a French bishop here. Looks very terrible. He has to try to play b5, rook b8, b5, and bishop b7. That would be nice if he could get all of that in, but yeah, not happening. So again, Jawad getting squeezed positionally here. Maroon really has a very, very nasty style. Like he's a universal player in a sense. And his positional side is even scarier than his tactical side. Even though his tactical side is quite scary, to be honest. So let's see here. Takes. Okay. How does white further his positional gains here? Where should he play? What's the plan? What's white's plan here? f4, f5 seems ridiculous. Ridiculous. Ridicule. And he's threatening knight takes c4 now. Black is, so better watch out for that threat. Because if takes, there's ba-boom. So watch out for that idea. Queen b3, very natural move. Again though, what's white's plan in this position? Maybe just play on the queen side, play some a4 idea and go for a clamp. a4 and a5, stopping b6 and b5, and going for some kind of queenside pressure, just planting something on b6 and playing against this pawn. Yeah, a4, stopping b5, and now at some point a5 will come. Knight c6, preventing all of that. Watch out for queen c3, no? I mean, I guess f6 and there isn't much there. Or bishop f8. No, bishop f8, maybe there's knight f6, but then king h8. But then knight h5. Huh. Yeah, so probably just f6. And after f6, it's not so clear what white has achieved. Like, this isn't really weak. To be honest, even f6, like, it's kind of helping black, because then he gets c5 in, gets very nice control here, and the bishop comes out. So maybe that's not such a great idea. And bishop c3 now, trying to prevent knight a5. Doesn't really prevent it though, but okay. What? This is a very strange move. No, this is extremely strange. I don't get this move. I mean, black is threatening knight d4, and after knight d4 you just have queen d1 going back. But after you played rook d1, Rook fd1. After knight d4, you can't go back to d1. And there's the threat on e2. So you're basically forced to capture. And is that what Maroon wanted? I don't think so. Yeah, he captures. And now a5, maybe? That's the point, but I don't know. I don't know here. He does play it. I mean, it's an interesting positional idea to get rid of that knight, or to entice black to get rid of that knight so that you get a strong positional clamp on the queen side. But yeah, now the bishop is coming to c6. Black has the bishop pair. Maybe, I don't know. It's difficult to assess this kind of decision. Okay, trades off the bishop pair now. But the bishop on c5, I mean, it's controlling some important dark squares. I don't know. If the bishop could come from d6, bishop c7, attack that a5 pawn, try to come in with b6. Knight does have good squares though. At any point you can of course jettison this pawn, play c5 and plank your knight on c4. Yeah, might be it. Problem is here for Jawad, he's really low on time, so even if he does have an okay position here, the time is just way too low. He's like playing with half the time Maroon has. That's insane. Bishop c5, preventing even any potential c4 sacrifice, so that's quite a good idea there. Quite a good. Okay, the knight comes to e4, and yeah, here queen a4. Yeah, I don't know, this is very difficult to assess. I kind of feel like white is starting to become a bit better, but it's still a lot of play left, of course. Again, but this is a positional masterpiece by Maroon. This kind of slow pressure, and then suddenly he's playing good knight versus not really bad bishop, but he's outplaying Jawad with the minor piece battle here. So very slow, strategic, positional grind. Sorry guys, I'm back. What did we miss here? So f5. Okay, Jawad trying to get some counterplay here. And Maroon fighting back, so suddenly this becomes very, very tactical. Knight f4, knight f4, and c6 potential. No, c6 doesn't really work. Knight d5. Yeah, playing against the knight in a time scramble is just too difficult. Let's see if he doesn't have time for one more game. Let me just mention 5+1 over. So again, we're adding 3 extra minutes. Yeah, this is of course just a perfunctory, just drops the queen, perfunctory win here. Let me stop the match clock. And yeah, let's see if they want to play the 3+1 or take a break. I guess they're taking a break from their facial expressions. Is it a break? It is a break. Alright. Yeah. So let me analyze this game. So let's check out the comp analysis here. my god. What? He was like almost always better. Look at this graph, guys. What the? What? Damn, Maroon is so good, man. Why was the split here? B3 allowing d4. Of course, that's nothing. I mean, d4 here is just a way to play the position. Some kind of reverse. Reverse what? Benoni here? Yeah, some kind of reverse Benoni. This is, of course, nothing. And okay, I'm lagging a bit. I know I'm here. Doesn't really like knight d2. I don't know why. And then here c5. The sacrifice I talked about, but here it's connected with some tactics with queen c4, I guess. Can you guys see the board properly? You don't. Let me put it like this. It's a bit cut out on the edge as well, but I mean, just bear with me. I mean, it's just a break. Again c5, and again c5. And here, yeah, bishop c5 preventing c5, of course. King h7, rook c2. They want to play. Yeah. Yeah, but actually amazing. I mean, that didn't seem like white had such a big advantage. It didn't seem like white had such a big advantage. Yeah, I mean, that's why positional play is so important. You don't know where such things come out of. Actually, yeah, I'm just really shocked by how well this was played. Really amazing work by Maroon. Congrats to him. Deserved victory. Alright, so what's up here? Are we going to get a game? The break shouldn't be longer than 5 minutes. It's a short break. I think Maroon got a cup of coffee or tea or something. Alright, I guess they'll be off. Let me ask them. Waiting for their reply. They seem to be having a good time. What's the score, by the way? I forgot about the score. That's 5-1. Alright, they've started. They really need to tell me. Alright. 30 minutes of 3 plus 1. And what about this position? A clever check here, by the way. Whoops. Here, preventing the bishop from coming to b6. So you play... Ugh. So you play this move to invoke c5, c6. I mean, the bishop can still come to b7, but after c6 it's going to be less effective there. Oh, now leaving this square so juicily available. with this bishop f5, bishop g6 stuff. Okay. Be careful of some kind of knight takes c6 sacrificial ideas. Probably never works in these kinds of positions, but it does work in similar types of positions with some long diagonal stuff. But yeah, here it's of course never working. All right. h6 and d3. Will the knight come to f3 and d5? Yes, it will, definitely. But knight c6, preventing, not really preventing knight e5, but at least somewhat discouraging knight e5. And I say somewhat because it's not really discouraging, to be honest. I mean, it is, but like not as much as you think. Okay, knight g4, attacking e3. I like this. I like this very much. I like this very much. Okay, knight e5 now. I'm starting to think that white's position isn't so great now. Right? Seems so. Pushes d4. My apologies. Locking in that bishop of theirs, which isn't so optimal. Maybe knight a3 to develop now, intending some knight b5. Okay, bishop b5 makes sense. All makes sense. Super Mario coming to a town near you. Okay, I guess now knight c3 makes more sense. Goes queen f2, very interesting move. Maybe he wants to go knight d2. Knight d2 and knight f3 to kick off that very annoying g5 bishop. Maybe that is the point. I like this point. But be careful of knight b4 now, with some nasty threats on c2 and d3, which kind of look annoying to face. So he does play knight e3, but now knight d3. Or this. Oh, this is just winning. This is just winning. Nice play by Jawad here. The point, of course, is that rook c1 loses, and knight takes c2 loses. So both very dangerous. Alright. He goes king h1, trying to sacrifice the exchange, which would be, of course, the lesser of the three evils. Yeah, okay. Bishop takes d4 just works, no? Because knight takes c2 again, there's rook takes c2, so this isn't really working. Okay, game over, bro. After the break, not playing so well. What is he going to do here? Takes, okay. Bit strange, to be honest. Kind of forced, though. Okay, queen g4. Trying to liquidate somewhat. But now bishop d3. I guess there's knight d6. Knight d6 now. Why is Maroon allowing bishop d3? Okay, now after bishop d3, knight d6 gains in strength. So there's that. Oh, that's annoying. Forcing rook g1 and now taking on e5, maybe very simple. No reason not to take on e5, I guess. e5, I guess. I said e5, of course. It came out as a5. Yeah. Queen b4. Okay, what about knight d6 maybe? Isn't knight d6 annoying? Rook e3. I'm so confused by these moves. I mean, rook e3 intending to go to g3 and protecting the b3 pawn, I got that, but I like knight d6 maybe a bit better. I don't know. Is this working? Wait, how is this working? It is work. I thought, yeah, miscalculation here. Yeah, because here if you take check and after you go back, you don't take, of course, but you take here because the rook can't take because of the pin. So that was it. And here he takes back, but yeah, just resigns. Or loses on time. I didn't resign. Wait, what happened? Did he take another break? He's off cam. What happened here? I need to be informed of these breaks. Okay, I've stopped the match clock. I don't know what happened there. So here I was thinking just knight d4. Knight d4, of course not. Knight d6. I guess it's still... No, it's not the same. Oh, what am I talking about? For you guys who saw the tactic, you must be really annoyed. Yeah, after knight takes d6, there's bishop takes g2 and the rook here is hanging. The rook on e1 is hanging, actually. Yeah, never mind me, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize for not seeing the tactics. Okay, this line was the one that... There was this g5 stuff. Okay, but here Maroon just castles. Plays it more normally. Okay, d4. Goes back. Maybe knight g5 again. No, of course not. These moves aren't so good. Of course, knight g5 just h4. And knight h3 would really just lose the knight there. So again, similar position to the one we've seen before in the 5+1 game, but here the difference is that there is this castling for black and not this early g5 stuff. Alright, still the white should be doing well here. White should be doing well here. Alright, knight e6, I guess. Yeah. I mean, of course, knight e6 is the only move. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, I mean, white has control over this d5 square, which is quite important, and the pieces are really well placed, especially this g2 bishop. Really annoying, and this bishop, it's not badly placed because it can always develop, but like, I mean, it isn't doing much, and this square can become tender. So all of this means that white is actually doing much better here. And now after bishop d6, there's the potential of, yeah, this pawn becoming a queen. No, I meant this, of course. Even a well-timed b6 with knight b5. So f5, very radical, very dangerous looking move. especially with the queen here, but it's necessary to prevent knight d4, and he goes b6. He goes for it. Now knight b5 coming. Yeah, black of course can't move this bishop. Oh my god, no! The board is frozen? Come on. Fridge. The board was frozen, guys, again. This is why streaming is sometimes better, because at least this doesn't happen as often. You have a chat to keep you in check. That sucks. How long has it been frozen for? Sorry, guys. I apologize once again. I was sad about missing this knight d6, bishop takes g2, but this is of course much worse because you can't see the game. I mean, if my commentary is bad, you can just mute me, but not seeing the game ain't good. Okay, I guess this is back to normal. So I was saying here, yeah, I mean, just take a look and then you can maybe realize what I was saying in the commentary there. If you stick around that long. So I was saying, like, here white has this d5 square and b6 knight b5 is a good idea, and the 5 is necessary but a bit crazy because of this. And now this part of the game I didn't see, so the exchanges get sacrificed, but it's basically of course a rook trade. And yeah, this bishop doing a very good blockading job, to be honest. You'd love the knight to be here. Unfortunately, that seems a bit far-fetched. The knight's best route is probably this, which is quite a long route, but possible of course, as the game has slowed down now, with the queens being off the board. So let's see how this will proceed. Trading off into the endgame. And Maroon should welcome that. Now knight g6, knight e7. Ah, even goes for the pawn immediately. That makes sense. Ah, there's e4. So not really going for the pawn immediately. And now you can't... Nope. No, sir. You can't take here, because then would come this. And if you take back, for Keruski. So Maroon's pieces weren't optimally placed for this, I guess. I think he should have held off on taking on b6, even though it looks very tempting just taking a free pawn, but Jawad had this idea. Still though, black should be fine here. Actually, it's starting to get dicey for white. Knight c5 is coming, and same colored bishop endgame. Can't be good. And the passed pawns on the queen side can't be good. This is looking like even a win for... yeah, take on e4 now. Yeah. This is looking like a win for black, definitely. Just up a pawn, and these really passed pawns are super dangerous. Now there is an argument to not even take on d5, because that opens up for the g2 bishop, even though in endgame taking a free pawn is super important, but there's that kind of argument. But probably, yeah, no, I'm not one to defend such a... Oh, e4, e4, e4. e4. He missed that. Okay, you had e4 here, bishop moves, then you have a square, a shish kebab. Now this is of course winning, but not so easy actually, Not so easy. He could have even sacrificed there, maybe. Yeah, now if the one pawn is lost, it's over. So he can't keep the pawn on g5 though. I guess this is still technically winning because if he keeps the pawn on g5, no one. But then why is white not playing g5? Yeah, white had g5. White had the opportunity to play g5. Will we see bishop versus knight, mate? Come on. We will. We will see that. We're going to see that. Wait, what? What did Maroon do here? Oh, that was a big blunder. Yeah, Maroon not finding his rhythm here in the 5+1. And he should have milked the clock here. He should have definitely milked the clock there. The games are loading very slowly. I don't know what's wrong here. Is it my internet maybe? I don't know what's going on. The game still hasn't loaded. Oh my god. Okay, I mean you guys know this stuff by now, the Tarash. But who deviated here? Jawad deviated, getting his bishop out even earlier, and that's a good deviation. But he dropped the c5 pawn, and this actually isn't so easy to recover after a4. Yeah, this is the problem here. The c5 pawn actually is very difficult to recover. c3 now, and yeah. Yeah. Knight d4 later. White should be much better here, just up a pawn actually. Even bishop b5, bishop takes c6 can be an idea in these types of positions. Now definitely knight d4, no, yes, because you have this knight b5 idea at any point. Yeah. And maybe even bishop d4 becomes an idea in these positions. So all to be honest, quite bad for black. Again, Jawad just getting destroyed in the Starash. He needs to find a solution to this. He needs to stop playing the French, to be honest. And this isn't one of those jabs at the French, no, it's a recommendation due to the match situation. Alright, so yeah, just up 2 pawns here. Not much to be said, just up 2 pawns. And the c5 pawn, I mean, it looks doubled, but I mean, it is doubled, it doesn't just look doubled. But yeah, it's doing a good job, very advanced. Okay, f3 now. Knights knights will no. Okay, rook d1. Bishop f4, very principled play. I guess there's taking now. And after bishop takes, knight d4, intending knight takes c6. Even if rook takes b2 occurs, there's knight takes c6 with an attack on the bishop. But this is also a very interesting tactic. Point is this, gets met with this. And knight takes f3 isn't working, of course, because the bishop is defended. So very nice idea here by Maroon. Knight takes c6 is available now. Knight takes c6 is very powerful. Again, knight takes f3 check doesn't work, and knight takes c6 is of course threatening just taking here. Ah, but there's rook takes c2. What am I talking about? Yeah, then you just play this, and now knight takes c6. Yeah, this should be just positionally over, actually. Still, I mean, a very close match still. 5.5 to 1.5. Yeah, Maroon hasn't found his rhythm in the 3+1, but I mean, I guess this game is going... It's heading south for Jawad here. Not looking so good. Or good at all. Yeah, how do you defend this c6 pawn? Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. So maybe after bishop takes c3, knight takes c6. Perhaps. I mean, this is just a mate threat. Rook d8 is just mate. What? Okay. That's cool. I mean, it doesn't do much. You just have 2 extra pawns. There's really no good reason to take on f6, but at the same time it simplifies the position. Gets rid of the knight, and okay, knight versus bishop is less powerful usually, but why not? Yeah. Nice spot there by Maroon, because bishop e3 check seemed like an annoying move at least, but yeah, nice spot by Maroon there. This will be a bit of a problem for the Bullet because the games are loading so slowly. It takes like 20 seconds. It keeps giving me this record. I don't know if it's from my I don't know. Is it from my hardware or is it an internet issue? I'm not getting it. Anyway, so Maroon uses his uses c6 to transpose back into the Queen's Gambit. So keeping it out of English territory, he tries to transpose to some kind of Queen's Gambit, the client setup. So let's see what's going to occur here. Whoa, this bishop a6. Quite interesting, but perhaps a bit too early. I don't know. Actually, I think... yeah, I don't know, no. I was going to say something about this position, but forget it. Okay, now, yeah, this is looking very annoying. a3, where is the knight going? The knight is trapped? He wants to take with the g-pawn? I guess the I guess that very nice actually. So you can't take here of course because that would drop the knight. But the point is that after takes and takes, actually I was thinking knight g4, the point being attacking h6, but then h5 and this knight is even trapped. Because remember the pawn is here blocking e5 and the knight has no squares. But maybe after takes, g takes, there's this. Attacking the rook. I guess in that case just rook e8 and this knight is again almost trapped basically. So yeah, I guess what Maroon did with bishop f4, what Jawad did with bishop f4 was much better. a6 now intending b5, very good idea. Alright, so Jawad has his work cut out for him in this position. He is better, but it requires... I mean, the knight on e5 just lends its way to being better, but yeah, still needs some time and effort. Alright. So... yeah, maybe does play b5. I was wondering about inserting rook takes c8. Okay, I guess it doesn't really matter. a3 is always annoying, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe knight e4. Knight e4. Knight e4 was interesting, intending knight d2. Black also has to be careful of knight d7, similarly as... yeah, now knight e4 would run to knight d7, for example. So just as white needs to be careful of this fork, black needs to be careful of this fork as well. Alright, a4 is played here. And what is black to do? a4, yeah, not a3. I mean, I guess there was just knight c6, no point in going there. a4 undermines some squares. Yeah, so what's going to be played here? Rook e8, stopping this knight d7 idea. Alright, alright. And now, what will white play? Yeah, Maroon has really yeah, he's really played this well actually. He's come back somewhat. Knight e4 now. Knight d2 being a big threat. The knight getting to the strong e4 square, as did the white knight on e5. And the knight on b4 is kind of stronger than the e2 knight, so if you evaluate by comparison here, it's looking like black is even starting to get better, to become better. Yeah, but with the rooks being traded off, this shouldn't be such a huge advantage. f6, nice. Against knight d3, I guess his point was to take to retreat with knight c6, not trading off knight e8 d3. I meant not trading off the knights. All right. Okay, so knight d3. Now what about king f7? King f7, there's even knight h8. That's funny. Okay, just takes a pawn. Yeah, that's looking like an extra pawn, to be honest. How much time on the match clock we have? We have time for one more 3+1 game. Knight g3. Look at the symmetry here. Oh my god, look at the symmetry. Apart from the pawns on the queen side, this is a very symmetric. Oh, knight takes e3. Knight takes e3. Takes on d4. Why not just take on e3? No, I don't think there was anything there with taking on e3. Same thing. Same thing. The important thing is you're protecting c2. Yeah, but I mean knight takes e3 came with a threat. So better there. Okay, check, and yeah, just pick up e4, that's it. Game over, bro. As usual, we have to make that joke when Game Over Bro is playing. So one more 3+1 game. 6.5, 2.5. Looking really good for Maroon, unless a miracle happens in the bullet. He has this match in the back of his hand. Okay. And Maroon going for d4. I mean, I guess he feels like he's already won the match, otherwise there's no reason not to repeat the Tarash and get a really good position. I mean, it's not like Jawad was ever able to crack the Tarash. The dice, yeah, no, the Tarash. It was the Tarash. Because he played d4 and my mind went to the d4 Tarash. And I was thinking, wait, they weren't playing the Tarash, but then I remembered there's the French Tarash, which they were playing. Okay. Mind, you do weird things. Let's be clear. Okay, here white just has a really solid structure with this f4 d4 stuff, and yeah, black is not doing well here. I mean, not doing well is an overstatement, but white is definitely still better and has nice positional control. As per usual. As per usual. Alright. I guess here you have to take with the e-pawn, that's basically forced, and they're not playing because I didn't start, yeah, I didn't press the button that makes the game show up. Alright. Ah, he takes on c6. Isn't this allowing taking on e3? Can't, or c3 for that matter. Well, I thought those were available. Hmm. I mean, I guess Maroon didn't really like having these f2, f4, and as well as the h2 structure, which makes sense. But I don't know. I don't know. Alright, is f3, 4 maybe an idea here? Could be. Could be. Or bishop f3, rook g1, rook g3, rook a8, g3, and all of that good stuff. Doubling up. But black's counterplay on the queen side is quite fast at the same time. Takes. Wow. No, no, no. No, this definitely isn't good for black. For white. Again, of course, yeah. The usual mistake with the colors. Every commentary of mine needs to include this mistake. Alright. Yeah, I mean, white is just on the back foot here. Black is pressing. It looks bad. Rook g5. H6. Okay. Oof. I mean, kind of warranted, to be honest. No, I like this. And now bishop b3. Actually, rook takes a4 will just be played, of course. But then c4. No, then a2 is kind of hanging. It's a good decision, I think, by Maroon. But wait, why didn't he take on a4? I don't know. By the way, we should stop the match clock. This game really went the stretch, by the way. Okay, a5. The pawns are a pushing. Are a pushing. A pushing. Queen b4 maybe there. Queen b2 is less incisive, I would say. Oh, a6, a7, a8 is coming. You want maybe to get your queen to be able to recapture the promoted pawn so that it comes with check. So that's kind of what he's trying to do. That's a good idea. And of course stopping the progress of the pawn going to a7. Yeah, now there are some tactics with rook takes b7 and some queen takes b7. Rook takes b7, some queen takes b7. Okay, Maroon trying to trade off queens. Yeah, because a7 would then just be completely crushing. So, good point there. The score hasn't updated. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. My bad, guys, again. Yeah, some streams are very low on technical issues. This isn't one of them. Or recordings, actually. This isn't a stream. I'm not streaming them. Now, there are some that are much worse than this, of course. But yeah, this is pretty bad in terms of... not pretty bad, but... the game being frozen there for like 6 minutes. Anyway, rook g1 now? Maybe not. Queen e5 and then rook g1. Ah, now rook g1. Nice, move order. Queen g1 attacking the rook on b8. Right. Oof. Rook takes g6. Wait, is that game? Queen h8, queen f6, queen f6. Yes, that's game. That's game. Queen takes f7, rook c8, and Bob's your uncle. Okay, that mates as well. That's actually faster. Is it faster? Yeah, it's faster by move, I guess. Mate in 3 versus mate in 2. Alright. 3 plus 1 over. Again, mentioning that it's time for 1 plus 1. Are they going to take a break? Anyone can resign at any point, by the way. Just to be perfectly clear. And they've started. Okay, so let's see if Jawad is... He's definitely lost the match, mathematically speaking. 6 games, it's impossible to come back from. He only has 15 minutes to come back from that, and yeah, that's not happening. But let's see, let's see. D5, very well timed. E4, very well timed as well, I guess. Not really. Taking on c4 is a big threat now. And f4 would be a nice move for white to get in, but ain't happening. Ain't happening. Alright. What are we going to see now? Rook a1. Alright. Taking and takes on c4. Yeah. Not a good showing here for Jawad in the first game. But maybe he'll recover in the coming games. But he will have to face... Oh, that's just a piece. The queen on c2 is hanging, of course. That's just a piece. Yeah, but now the problem is he's going, like, if Maroon really wants to add insult to injury, he'll play e4 now. And make Jawad play against... he plays d3, okay. Yeah. And make Jawad play against this French Tarash, but yeah, he doesn't want to do that. Alright. Let's see. Bishop comes to e6. And the pawn comes to e5. Gaining space, and gaining some powerful positional trumps. Queen e4, attacking f4. And getting the queen into the game. What is black going to do here? Maybe knight g6 actually. But then rook a d1. Yeah, just queen takes f4 now. And the queen goes back. And knight e3 at any point. Knight c d2 is fine as well at some point. All quite good. Maybe knight c... Maybe there's queen f4 now for black. Can be a bit annoying for white. Because it kind of forces the queen trade. As otherwise, there is queen takes g3 as a threat. Watch out for that, because the bishop is pinning the king. So that would actually be a queen blunder for white if they were to not take the queen there. So, and after queen takes g3, there's knight f4. So Maroon really thinking here. Is Maroon's scam frozen, by the way? No, he's moving. What happened? Goes knight e3. Just sacrificing a pawn, but to escape all of these nasty ideas. Well, sacrifices the pawn back. I mean, he was up a pawn. Now he... yeah. I thought he blundered the pawn, but he has this fork. And Jawad thought so as well. So I'm in good company here. I don't know, yeah. I would have taken the rook there, to be honest. I feel like there's too much material here for the queen. for white to be too happy about this trade. What about just taking on a4 now, to be honest? Just, yeah, like, I don't know. Taking on... I guess there's knight f5, which could be annoying. Or there was. Okay, time pressure. Time pressure and Jawad... Oh, knight f3 now. Intending knight g5. Knight b5. No, I don't like that. What? I'm not getting what's happening here. Knight d5 now. Knight f6 might be on the cards sometimes. At some point. Knight f8, knight e8 maybe. Doesn't really do much though. Okay, this is just insanity now. Oh, g3. And it works. Ah, rook f5. We missed. Woo! Going for this endgame. Is that such a wise idea? I don't think so. White is lost here. Oh. Oh, very nicely played. Good job by Jawad. Good job by Jawad. Very nice. Alright. Third bullet game. Again, we need some time to see these games because I'm lagging something fierce here. So again, just another variation of this position. Both players have really kept their opening stable, to be honest. Apart from Maroon assaying this... assaying. No, it's assaying. Oh my god. Sorry. Even my English is becoming bad. Assaying that... whatchamacallit... d4 and d3. Yeah, this is what he essayed. It's actually... Essayed is actually a rare word in terms of tried. The meaning of tried. It's actually something that I picked up on from chess, not from my usual reading, so that's why I'm making this excuse now. Okay, back to this position. The bishop on g2, usually a very powerful piece in these c4 lines. Not so much here. Not so much here. Sorry for the sniffles there. Every time I'm streaming I have these sniffles. Probably due to the cold. That's a good assumption, I guess. There's some rook a5. Bishop b4, rook a5. Ah, I think that's a missed opportunity. Here, bishop b4. And rook a5 trapping the queenita. And I'm not seeing a way for the queen to escape actually there. Could have been really nice. Instead he goes the other way. And... and what here? These knights are again superfluous, right? So need something to combat that, and yeah, this tactic occurs. Yeah, this tactic was there on the previous move, right? Rook takes e2 followed by taking on c1. I believe so. Still a bit dangerous for black, I guess, with potentially b7 dropping. So you need to be careful. Careful. Nice spot there because f8 was hanging because of the pin. Yeah, this is still winning for white, I guess. g4 isn't really helping much. And yeah, Jawad will get another game in here, I believe. Seems so. Maroon should just milk the clock. Just milk the clock. Trying to go for some kind of perpetual, but hey. No, it's not. The queen h3. Yeah, it's not working. And mate on f8 is retained, so that's over. Queen takes h3 check was the only way to prolong the game, and he should have tried that. Oh, Maroon going for his classic For the classic wall that he enjoys playing. He needs to play h3 though. It's not a wall. It's not the wall. Needs to play h3. No h3, it's not the wall. Ah. So that's a victory for Jawad, right? He stopped him from playing the full wall. Because no h3. No full wall. No full wall. No full wall indeed. I guess this is going to be... This will go on the thumbnail. Telling you guys from now, as if you could know. I mean, this is being recorded, not streamed. Okay, bishop b2. Knight e5. Ooh. Knight d e5. Ouch. Nasty. Nasty, nasty. Losing, in fact, for white. Yeah, Jawad is the wrong person to play this against. Just picks up an exchange. Even have to go to f1. Ah, now rook d1 check. I think rook d1 check would have been easier. No need to allow any of this. Now knight c3, knight d5 could be annoying for black to face, so you need to be careful of that. Jawad not about to get walled. King g2, I guess. Knight c3, there's queen d2 maybe. Doesn't care. Knight d5. Knight d5 is automatic. What? Why not knight d5? I find this incredibly insane. Knight d5 was also threatening knight b6 check because Jawad played a6. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. Rodocolo. It's Rodocolo. Taking on e4 is of course very dangerous. Ooh. Actually here I would have even milked this tactic further and played this. Though I guess the rook comes out. Yeah, maybe no reason to do that, okay. Yeah, now the wall. The wall is a success. Go up. Go up. I couldn't go up. He dropped the piece there for no reason. Okay. The wall has been a success, guys. The wall has been a success. Maroon has a very centralized king in the endgame. He saw all of this, of course, when he played a3. From that point on. Did he start with 1a3 actually? I forgot. Yeah, he did. Yeah, from that point onward, it was just smooth sailing. Smooth sailing. Yeah, this isn't the easiest endgame to win, actually. It kind of is. No, it's still a bit difficult. There's a barrage of checks. A barrage. But he should be able to convert this eventually. Yeah. Is he going to zigzag his way up? Yeah, this one's of course. But I guess not the most accurate? No, it is fine, yeah. It's fine. Yeah. Split pawns. Okay. King e4 is fine as well, but king e5 is simpler. Let me mention that this will be the last 1+1 game, probably at least. Okay, waiting for the game to load, as usual. As usual, my friends, as usual. Taking so long to load here. Alright, so again, just a variation of this normal stuff here. This normal stuff we've been seeing all match long. d5. Free bishop. Free bishop. I mean, technically this isn't the last 1+1. He could have resigned there. I was getting a bit over enthusiastic there. Yeah, my mistake there, to be honest. Like, there's still 1 minute remaining. I should have said that. But it doesn't really matter much. Alright, so yeah, it's just up for rook here with the attack to boot. So Jawad can safely resign this and call it a match. It will end 11.5, 4.5 in Maroon's favor. So 11.5. Congratulations to Maroon for moving on to the semi-finals. We have Akram against Joe and Maroon against Adib. The 4 top seeds have qualified, and it was a very, very exciting qualification stage. But mostly they didn't leave any doubt, the 4 of them. Actually, Joe's match against Ahmed was very tight. But apart from that, yeah, they didn't really leave any doubt. Very nice play by the 4 of them. It's going to be very exciting. We're going to see when we'll schedule these. Those matches will definitely be streamed, as well as the final. And we'll have guests, of course. So stay tuned for that, guys. Alright, thank you guys for watching. And take care and stay tuned for the coming battles and wars. Alright, guys. Take care and au revoir.